Welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner. I'm Joshua Jacobs with College Golf Experience, and with me today is assistant men's golf coach at Pepperdine University, Blaine Woodruff. Blaine, how you doing today?
Doing great, Josh. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for coming on. Let's tell the audience a little bit about yourself and your golfing and coaching career to get this started.
Yeah. So I started the game really young, started when I was 2. My dad played in college and I picked it up, played some other way, but my personality kind of always drew me to golf. I loved the fact that it was kind of all on me and I didn't have to rely on anybody else. So I played a bunch of junior stuff growing up and began to kind of get better and decided that I wanted to try to play in college and ended up going to University of South Carolina, which wasn't too far from where I lived. I grew up just outside of Atlanta and was there for 5 years. I redshirted a year kind of there in the middle. So got my undergraduate degree and then ended up getting my master's there my 5th year while I was still playing. So had a great experience there, and honestly, that's kind of what led me into coaching. The impact that I felt like my coaches had on me through those years. I mean, they made those years for me the most memorable years of my life. And when I kind of was looking at what I wanted to do next and what my career was going to be, I mean, there was a lot of but the thing that kind of kept on pulling at my heartstrings was something to do with college golf, just because of how much I loved it. And I was fortunate kind of right in that moment. It's amazing kind of how the timing works sometimes to get a call from my former assistant coach my freshman year. He was the head coach at Wisconsin, and he called me and asked if I'd be interested in coming up there and being his assistant. Went up there and interviewed, and it was a no-brainer for me to make that kind of my first coaching move. And so I went up to Wisconsin for 2 years and learned a lot, really enjoyed it there. Had some great times with those guys that I still am in touch with now. And then that led to an opportunity out in Malibu, California here at Pepperdine. And I've been here now for 4 years. So yeah, that's kind of been the journey so far. It's been a lot of learning and a lot of great relationships built with peers and with my players.
You speak so highly of literally the college golf experience that you had. What was your favorite part about that and playing at South Carolina?
Yeah, so I think the really cool thing is golf is such an individual game, and it can be good in ways and bad in ways. You know, the good part is you've had the success on your own, but the bad part is you also kind of can feel alone out there sometimes when things aren't going well. So to have kind of a group of guys around you that are going through life and are in the same stage of life as you, and they want the same things as you from a goal standpoint is really, really cool. It's cool to have someone around you or multiple guys around you to kind of lean on and go through that together. And so I think that was probably the biggest thing for me that at least that made my experience so good, was just having a group of guys around me that I got really close with and felt like I could tell anything to them, and they had my back kind of no matter what, and we kind of go through life together.
Well, clearly your experience as a player at South Carolina, going to Wisconsin as a coach, and ending at Pepperdine the last 4 years, of course, winning the national championship last year in 2021. What coaching philosophies do you put into play on a day-to-day basis, and where did you pick up those coaching philosophies?
Well, I'll kind of start with like big picture. For me, and I felt this as a player, and so it's something that I always wanted to kind of implement as a coach from the beginning. Is I really wanted to build like an authentic, genuine relationship with all of my guys, all the guys that I coach, because that's how it was for me. And I had friends in high school and stuff that went and played for other teams, and they felt like their coach maybe didn't have their best interests, and there were sometimes just kind of a commodity for them in a way. At least that's how they felt. And so for me, I wanted to make sure that was never the case. And so I would say, like, big picture philosophy wise, I've always tried to develop that type of trust with my guys to where they feel like, one, they could come to me for anything, but then also just that they know that I care more about them as a person than what they shoot. And I think that that's absolutely vital, especially in this game. It's an unbelievable game, but man, it can be cruel sometimes. So that's something that I've kind of taken with me. And then once you get to that point, then I feel like as a coach, you can really kind of push them and encourage them, and they'll open up to you about like what their goals are, and what they want to be. And then I think you have kind of the, I don't want to say leverage, but you have that trust or respect from them at that point to kind of help them through that, to where they'll listen to you and they don't think it's an attack towards them. It's more you and them trying to work at something, and get to a point together. And it's not like I'm just doing this because coach told me to do this, or it's not an attack towards their game. It's, hey, we're you want to get here, and I'm going to do everything I can to help you get there, and we're going to do this together. So um, that's kind of the philosophy in a nutshell. As far as where I've learned it, I think I touched on it a little bit, but a lot of it came from my experience as a player. I actually had 3 assistant coaches during my time there, so I got to see a lot of different kind of coaching styles, and there were pieces that I took from each of those guys that I really liked, and things that I kind of didn't want to do when I was a coach. And it's just, I mean, I'm far from perfect. I've made plenty of mistakes, but it's just kind of developed over the years. I've kind of um, learned the right way to do it a little bit more, I guess, and have kind of just gone from there.
When you talk about that vast experience that you've gained, what's the one thing that you know now that you wish you knew during your junior golf years?
Um, I would say, and this is kind of, well, it's for me. It really affected me, but I think everybody feels this way. It's the biggest thing is realizing that um, golf is what you do, and it's not who you are. Because that, I kind of touched on it, but I mean, golf can be tough, man, and it's there's a lot of ups and downs, and everybody goes through those, and it's easy to put your self-worth, or your identity kind of in your results, or how good you are, or what people think about you. And that's not the case, even though it's really easy to do that at times. So that would be kind of what I would say. I wish I would have done a better job of that as a junior in college golfer, that my worth wasn't totally in my results, or how good I was.
You spoke about building trust with your players and the relationship that can be built between coach and player. How valuable is getting to know players as they're going through the junior golf ranks, in addition to just watching their tournament scores?
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest part of it, Josh. I mean, getting to know them, getting to know their family, getting to know what their goals are, what they enjoy, what frustrates them, what makes them nervous. I mean, all that stuff is so important. And then, vice versa, for them to get to know us as coaches, and how we are. And I yeah, I mean, I try to be as transparent as possible as a coach, kind of for that reason. And I hope that kind of being that way, the recruits and their families kind of are also the same way, to where we can kind of see like what really is a match, instead of just trying to kind of put on a front. So I think that part is vital.
What role do you see camps playing in that realm?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great opportunity for exactly what we just talked about. I mean, there's a lot of rules on our end as coaches that the NCAA has that makes it a little tricky sometimes, at least up until a certain age or graduation year, to where we can really get to know kids. Um, and so camps, I think, are a great avenue to kind of start that and to figure out, what a kid's like, what his family's like, and what he wants, and where he wants to see himself in 4 or 5 years. And um, I think camps are almost, before that date that we're allowed to communicate with those kids, are almost the only way to really do that. So I think that they play a huge role.
What advice would you give juniors between the ages of let's just say 10 and that junior year, when you can start communicating with them? What advice would you give in regards to their schedules and camps versus tournaments, both vice versa? How would you direct them?
Yeah, I mean, I would first off, I would ask as many questions and get out there as much as you can, whether it's tournaments or camps. Um, have The way I've kind of always looked at it, at least now that I'm on this side of it, and this is also something that I kind of wish I would have done going through that stage, is looked at. And once again, I mean, I was I was younger, so this was probably maybe a little bit of a um, mature way to look at it for my age. But I wish I would have looked at it kind of like long term, as far as what I wanted, even past like college. Like I wanted to play the tour, but I didn't really ever make that kind of the foundation of the decision that I made. And it doesn't have to be the tour. It can be a bunch of different things. It can be a great college golf experience, and then kind of work back from there. But I think it's important to kind of find out what you want, and then start kind of working back from there and figuring out how to get there. And then you can kind of develop, your own kind of lists of questions, or like checkpoints of what would get me to what I want. And like I said, it doesn't have to be the tour. It can be something else, but you can kind of create almost your own roadmap, and then have a bunch of questions um, and things that you can ask coaches or peers, or counselors at camps. I mean, it can be anyone. I would ask as much as you can to try to figure out how you can get where you want to be. And that can be also, what tournaments to sign up for, those types of things as well. But that would be the way I would go about it.
Well, we truly appreciate your time today. Let me throw some fun questions your way for the audience, to get to know you a little bit deeper.
All right, all right.
What's your favorite movie?
Oh, probably Remember the Titans.
Great pick. What are you currently what are you currently watching or binging on TV?
Well, the newest season of Yellowstone just came out, and my wife and I are big fans of that show. So that is currently what we are all over, um, watching Yellowstone.
Do you have any guilty pleasures?
Uh, every morning, definitely hits the old wallet a little bit, but that is my guilty pleasure every morning.
Well, you certainly can't beat Pepperdine being in Malibu. What is your favorite spot for lunch on or near campus?
Oh, that's a good one. There's a place called John's Garden, which is right down there in like the Malibu Country Mart, our little beach town there. A bunch of nice California smoothies and sandwiches. That's not a bad spot. Have a little lunch, look at the ocean, and yeah, good way to have a good day.
Well, we certainly appreciate your time on Coach's Corner, and we wish you the best of luck in the 2021-22 season, and we will be we're excited to welcome you to the Las Vegas camp coming up here in December.
Awesome, Josh. Looking forward to being there, man.
Thank you, Coach. We'll talk to you soon.